Alright, and welcome back. We're going to go over set 3 this time. So I'll quickly open up the deck lists, although ours are the same as we've had for the last couple of games, right? It's the same thing. We thought may as well bring it, because if I'm going to be bringing these and Gamzee's going to be helping us, then may as well have decks that we're all familiar with. So I brought the same lineup. It was a bit of a read that they might bring like Samira stuff, but it wasn't some sort of like grand read that was guaranteed or anything. So I decided to do it that way. But these are their 3 decks and these are our 3 decks. And you'll notice that if we just go back to this, like these, the merge, these decks and these control. These decks are the same decks, right? Basically, although they're lopsided, and this are the only differences, right? Now, our whole lineup was to beat Leona decks. Now, Leona Samira is obviously the scariest version of a Leona deck, but our whole point was to beat Leona decks. So I'm definitely keeping this up, which means we get to choose out of these, while they have to choose out of all of these. And so I want to compare like their Norra Veigar and their Heimer Jayce, because we end up banning Norra Veigar because of the 2 mini-morph. Now, Heimer Jayce and Norra Veigar are similar things. It's all SI mirrors, like it's SI mirrors all the way down. That's not what I want to do. That's not what I want to do. So like at some point, it's less about like the Norra and the Veigar and more about the SI-ness of the mirrors. Now, Heimer Jayce I think is a slightly stronger deck because if you get Adaptatron stuff happening, you've got like a more powerful possible opener. While Veigar Norra can stall out a little bit more. So it's that they're about even. They're just different methods of winning the SI mirror. One's about stalling out with stuff like Norra, and they have to, use their forms of removal. So if we go to their Heimerdinger deck, if I've got one quietus, like when you're counting these forms of removal against your Norras and stuff, that's basically what you're playing around. But this deck was really scary because they have the double Albus, which was pretty scary into us just because it's a 6th or 8th champion. So the more copies of Albus, the scarier we have to be. But they've also got no Ruinate, so we don't have to be too worried with any of these decks about being ruinated, right? While we've got Ruination for their big turns where they might have Adaptatron, Hextech Candler stuff. They've also got Caustic, which can do okay into Production Surge, but Caustic doesn't do too much against these decks. All of these things have 2 health except Conjure, and while Caustic can like synergize with things or hit Norra portals, that's not too big of a concern. So the Heimerdinger deck, look, it's a Heimerdinger deck. It's going to be a little bit scary into the SI mirror, but this deck is much scarier with Minimorph being an amazing way to deal with something like a Heimer. If they Vengeance Heimer, or if they don't Vengeance Heimer and instead they Minimorph Heimer, you don't even have the action to set up like 1 or 2 turrets by playing, I don't know, Formula or something. So Minimorph's obviously a lot scarier. And so we decided to ban the Norra Veigar. Obviously, we're trying to beat this deck. This deck's on 1 Winding Light, 1 Sunburst, 1 Morning Light, all of this sort of stuff. And I think they ended up banning Karma Set, which was a bit sad to me because it's the deck that I think is like the most powerful into their stuff, which is obviously why they banned it. But I did want to play it because I think it's a lot easier than these decks are. So being able to play this would have been nice. We'll quickly go over to the section. We're not going to watch in 2 times speed, and I'll show you why very quickly. This application makes your voice a squirrel when you're at twice the speed. So we're just going to go to 1 time speed, and we're going to try and watch somewhat okayly. It's a long set because it's the collab set, which means Gamzee, Roma, and I are in a voice call. However, for Roma, it's like 2 or 3 a.m., so he slept. He was in the voice call, and then I think he just like fell asleep immediately. And Gamzee, it's really early in the morning for him. It's something like 6 or 5 a.m., so he can't, he doesn't live alone, so he can't justify, I think he doesn't live alone, so he can't justify talking loudly. That's unfair to the people around him. So I've got him open on like my phone as a text, and you'll notice that this is important. I hopefully have titled this Timer Tribulations, and hopefully you'll see why there are Timer Tribulations. And I think the final thing I want to mention is just before I entered this recording room, there was another person before me and I could hear what they were talking about. So it's not as soundproofed as I would have hoped, but we can move on. Yeah. Good job, all of us, though. Like, we've done really well so far. I'm actually... I had no expectations because, this is Roma's first tournament. I'm playing decks I've never played before. So if we went 0-3, I still would have been happy, but we're doing really, really well. Yeah. Let's ban Norra Veigar. Just double checking they've got the mini-morphs. They banned Karma Set. Okay, I'm actually really happy with that, because that's the deck I don't want to play. Oh, really? Okay. Do you guys have a preference? That's the deck I want to play the most now, but maybe that's like, results-based analysis. Ask if they've got a preference. I don't think they care. And
All right. I don't have a preference, so I will play Heimer Jayce.
and we have a Heimer
And we're in the
Jayce mirror
Heimer
on our
Jayce mirror.
hands.
So I think in the mirror we just want Hextech Handler. Like we just want the Hextech Handler stuff. Basically, is my understanding. So I'm thinking we mulligan like this. We could keep Forge Chief. I don't hate keeping Forge Chief. Although it loses to Adaptatron, so I don't really want to keep Forge Chief. Do you have any thoughts, Gimsy? Is Vengeance necessary for, like, Heimer or something?
I'm
Okay,
going
so
to
we'll
turn the
keep like
speed up,
this?
aren't I? I'm really bored already. I have to turn the speed up. I'm so sorry. You're going to hear a squirrel.
I will Forge Chief on one, I think.
Yeah, you're just going to have to deal with it because I am so zoom uphill that I can't deal with the speed issues. So I think this is a decently interesting mulligan. I don't really want to keep Heimer because I want to have the highest chance for the 3-2 Hextech guy and just like the 1 to 6 units. That sort of hand is going to be really good into any form of removal that they've got. Let's open up their deck list. Mystic Shot doesn't do too well into that sort of hand. Aftershock doesn't do that well into that sort of hand. You can do Caustic if we don't get any tough units, but that's something I have to be like willing to acquiesce. And, you know, that just could occur. If we have a hand that is something along the lines of like Formula plus the 3-2 plus the line, I think this is interesting because then you can buff all of these out of Caustic range. So I think if we drew something amazing like this, I think that could actually be decent into even like Caustic stuff. And then what are they going to do? They can Shock Blast. Good, you've killed 2 units. Unless I have just 2 units, it's like I'm going to be fine. And importantly, like they also have to deal with Handler, who maybe is half a Shock Blast target, but we've got, 6 mana worth of units and they're only going to spend this much. They can Aftershock. They've got answers for it, but it's definitely the most powerful thing we can be doing, and it's checking them. It's checking that they've got certain stuff, and you can see from our hand, like, we don't have stuff to deal with that, so maybe they don't have stuff to deal with that if we had that sort of hand. So I don't keep Heimer because I want to have a higher chance of getting that. Forge Chief is interesting because we've got the attack token on 1, and they can quiet us, but I think getting a quietus on this means no quietus on this later on, which is nice, and they only run 1 quietus. So I think this is okay. The only issue is that if they've got this, I'm going to attack and then it's just going to like die. And then they get to keep this unit. And then I've lost one of my draw cards when I say draw cards, one of my, because this is a draw right now. When this goes in the deck and then we get a new one, that's called a draw. And so I could have had like an opportunity for something like a formula or something else. Vengeance I've kept as a way to deal with Heimer. If we can outvalue their Heimers, like we're going to be fine, right? If we just draw more removal tools and eventually kill all their removal tools, I think it'll be okay. There's a weird issue with a lot of mirror-esque games where there's like answers and like win cons, right? And you can either mulligan for the most win cons and force yourself to win, or you can mulligan for the most answers and force the enemy to lose, and making the enemy lose and making you win are both ways to win the game. I often find myself preferring this type of interaction. I remember one of the first few tournaments I ever did was one against Frozen Thrall, and I played Thresh Asol, and he also played a Celestial deck, and every time I was offered Celestials, I played Starshaping, or Asol, I would always go for the removal stuff instead of the win condition stuff. And what he said to me after the game, because he won after it went to turn 39 or something, was if you had just picked any win condition like the Scourge or the Great Beyond, you would have won that game. Because I was, I had something like 3 of these Supernovas in hand or whatever, and I couldn't win the game. I wasted all my Starshapings and my Asols and got no win conditions from them. So I think this is partly my biases to keep Vengeance as well. I know this is a very Spidzian thing to do. In fact, Cephalopod mentioned this yesterday to me as well, that I much prefer playing slowly than playing for win conditions. So there are worlds where you keep Heimer to force scenarios where they must Vengeance it, or it gives you opportunities to stick a Heimer if they misplay. So this is maybe like a more misplay punishing card. So there's a reason to keep Heimer, but I think I'm more partial to Vengeance, and so I kept Vengeance and kicked Heimer, and Gemsy seemed to agree, right? Because Gemsy's got a lot of experience on this deck, but it's sort of like a philosophical thing. You could keep Heimerdinger if you're like pro win conditions. And because we have a removal piece, you could argue something along the lines of, we can kill one of their Heimers, let's force them to kill our Heimer, right? So because we've got this, we can keep this. But for me, this is about how I would want to mulligan, generally speaking. I think.
I will Forge Chief on one, I think. The chance of them having the 1-3 is a little bit sad, but I do think it's probably worth just Forge Chiefing on one.
Aussie accents with the squirrel thing is really, really funny.
Okay. I mean, the reason that's an issue is, like, if we can't proc thingo.
Yeah, so there are two ways this gets punished. One is by the 1-3, and then it's just like, it's sad for us, but it's not the worst thing that could ever occur. And this unit, now that we've drawn it, like, it's not like it's this unit in comparison to other options. It's this unit as herself. Like, she can only do certain things. One thing she can do is, like, block. One thing she can do is just, like, deal 2 into very specific scenarios. One thing that she can do is die to, like, Quietus. I think this is what Quietus looks like. There's, like, a spider inside. Okay, whatever. Like, these are the things that she can do, but this is all she can do. She's not a particularly, like, powerful unit. Now, if she strikes and they don't have the 1-3, all of a sudden she's worth 2 spell mana, which is more than 1, and that's okay. But in the event that she does get Quietus, we can't play a 6 mana spell, because by turn 3 we'll only have 5 mana, which can cause issues. What is nice, though, is that neither can they with the Quietus. So the Quietus is like a trade where both of us pass down an extra turn, because Heimerdinger Jayce decks really want to do something cool on turn 3. They either want to do, you know, Formula or Assembly Line or Shock Blast if the enemy gamer has developed stuff, that sort of stuff. So preventing them from having access to Quietus is okay. It's just even, right? And we actually don't have a proactive 6 mana play. So if anything, them quieting us gives us access to beating their hands when they have Assembly Line, right? And in addition, we've also got Reggie, which means we don't need to play anything on turn 3 anyway. So if we imagine, like, on turn 4, we've got 10 mana, right? We've got 10 mana to play with. We can spend 6 on a 6 mana spell, and we've got 1 here and 2 here. That's okay for us. We've got a hand. We can make sure that our 10 mana stuff is feeling fine. But they may or may not, like, these are all unknowns. But if they don't have something that looks like this and like this, then we're winning by having this as a scenario. Sort of, provided they quiet us, right? So I think playing Forge Chief is fine. It's probably a bit too many words for just a 1-drop when, you know, most decks are like, if you have 1-drop, play 1-drop. But I think there's a few interesting, like, thoughts we can think about regarding the next, like, 3 turns or so based on playing this unit. And there are times where if I had Assembly Line here, I actually think I might not play this fun cooler. How do I... Thanks. I think if I had Assembly Line here, I wouldn't play this unit, because if they've got pen, good. If they've got Quietus, I wouldn't want to. If they've got Quietus and they kill this unit, and we both have 5 mana, I then have to, like, do weird stuff where I'm sort of forced to do this on 2, and then the Assembly Line on 3, on 4, which is okay, but it's not amazing. I'd much rather do the Assembly Line on that turn. But maybe I'm wrong. You know what? I'm not entirely sure, because if they do the Quietus or they have the 1-3, then that's not the worst thing that could occur to us. I guess it's much worse into the 1-3, because the 1-3 definitely punishes us for... Oh, but then we still get to have 6 mana. I guess this is always right, even if we've got Assembly Line. I think this is probably always right.
If we can't, like, proc Shock Blast.
Ignore a lot of what I've just said.
I won't play Pharaohs. Let me put you guys up on my phone, actually. But I won't play Pharaohs, because I want to keep up 6 mana.
Yeah.
Although what we could do is we could play Forge Chief and then open. That might be what we do. We might play Forge Chief and then open, I think. Yeah, okay. I'm glad you agree. Because even if they Mystic, like, we're going to get 1 mana. And if they double Mystic, like, that is their hand. Let me open you guys up on my phone.
Yeah, wait.
You guys are on my phone now. They play their own Forge Chief. I will play my own Forge Chief, I think.
I think that's wrong. I think I just forgot they've got Caustic.
They're on 1 Quiet, 2 Mystic. I will do this block.
I think this block is very good for us, especially if we're trying to play around Caustic Grip. Like, we got a 1 health unit or 1 health unit. Like, I don't want to run into Caustic
I
Grip.
will open attack there. Oh, we get Production Surge, which I think is better.
I didn't know I drew
Even if
that.
they Shock Blast, unless we get like the elusive turret, we beat stuff like Shock Blast.
This is always correct. It's powerful. Do it every
I think
time.
it's Production Surge.
Yep.
Yeah.
I did not know I drew this. That's very lucky for us. Good job, Spidz. So they could have one of 3 Caustics, but
I will hit the shot.
I definitely should have been more aware of Caustic than I was being. I don't think I'm supposed
It's
to
a
play
little
Forge
bit.
Chief.
Okay, this is a good draw. This is maybe the best thing we could have gotten, to be honest.
I
Although
agree.
maybe like a bunch of 1/1s would be better. Pharaohs is really good for us. We should keep in mind that they've got 1 Pharaohs card. Importantly, they're on Caustic, so they could Caustic us here. If they don't have Caustic, otherwise they did this block. They've got Caustic. They don't have Caustic. They would have Caustic here if they played it, so we can assume they don't have Caustic right? Because they definitely would have played it there, right?
One thing that this tool could be really useful for is saying, like, you know, no Caustic here or something like that. It's interesting. I've never thought about using this tool as
Which
like
means their
this
hand
thing.
is a little bit.
So now we can
Yeah.
like put the 6 here. Interesting
They could have
choice.
Piercing, they could have Vengeance, they could have Aftershock, maybe? The hand could be double Elvis, but the fact that we're like smorking them is quite nice. And I will play Pharaohs, yeah. Unless they pass. If they pass, we're passing back. But if they don't pass, we'll just play Pharaohs Finance here. Because if we can smack them, like that's good, right? How much healing do they have? It's just Piercing Darkness. It's their only main deck healing. Challenger Jayce. I'm okay to just play Pharaohs into this. I'll take Formula. We've got answers for Heimer and stuff, and I think we just want card draw.
Yeah, I think that draw's fine. Like, we've got answers for Heimer in both of these cards. We've got answers for big concerns here. We don't really need anything else. And besides these, like, we're actually not doing anything for a few turns. If we can't reliably stick Heimerdinger, then if this was another interaction piece, we'd be losing, right? So just because, like, we wouldn't be winning the game, we're not losing, but they could start forking us with, like, mid-level threats, such as the 3-2, right? Like the Hextech Handlet. And if they start playing units like that, like, we can't justify vengeancing those. And then, so we're justifying, like, ruinating them, but then that's not great for us. So Formula is obviously just, like, the right choice, I think.
They don't challenge, we're gonna just open. Did they draw Caustic?
Was that from the top? Can I just quickly check where that was from? Okay, it was their second
draw
most
Caustic?
recent draw. Okay. So they drew it after the turn we attack. And this is Caustic.
Funnily enough, if they play Caustic, they don't actually have a way to kill Heimer. So I think we play Heimerdinger here. Because they can kill Heimer with Jayce, but I think we can just Vengeance Jayce. Otherwise, we can do Formula. So you're saying go on the Heimer? Yes, Heimer? Just like get the double clarification. Yes, Heimer?
I'm noticing something here. Okay, let's go back a little. So
So you're saying go on the Heimer?
I'm noticing this says 5 FP. This is saying 543 right now. And if we go to when we actually play Heimerdinger,
Yes, Heimer?
it says 520. I spend about 23 seconds waiting for Gemsy to say yes, Heimer. And now 23 is not the amount of seconds that we're in overtime by the time the timer kills us. Spoilers, the timer ends up being not guaranteedly, but the best play is something that doesn't occur because of the timer, right? And the best play prevents lethal, and instead I just pass and we lose because I ran out of timer. So I think we're like a minute down by the time that happens, but this is 23 seconds that we're losing here. So I just wanted to like, because Gemsy, one of the things he said is he wanted to see when we could have saved time. This is an example, I think.
Now they could play their own Heimer, which gets a little bit awkward.
And I hope you guys can follow what I'm saying in my squirrel voice. Like, they don't have 6 mana, they can't kill Heimer at all. So, like, even next turn, if they open Vengeance, we can Vengeance them to get, like, the 6-1, right? Or we can even do Formula Vengeance to get, like, 2x6-1, which is interesting. So, like, we've got an opportunity to stick Heimer because we had the wide board that they were forced to, you know, Caustic it up. And this looks like the Shreema icon.
Perchance, yeah. And we can do something like Formula. Okay, they've got their own Heimer.
You
Gee.
can't just say per chance.
What we could do is if they like develop stuff, we can Ruinate, which is really cute. So if they play something like a Shock Blast, okay, they don't. We're just gonna Vengeance them. I mean, we could ruin post-combat, but I think Vengeance is better because it forces them to interact with us more. hate Ruination though. It's close. Yeah. It's really interesting because if they have their own 6-mana Vengeance, then we're playing Florbegon and Heimer doesn't stay around. I'm gonna...
So it is interesting. They've played 2 of their win conditions, including Heimer, and we would lose 1 win condition, but we'd be doing Ruinate and killing 2 of their win conditions. The only issue is that they can play something like a formula, right? And retain this. We'd have 0 mana, they'd have no mana, and they would end this interaction with them having a Florbegon and us having nothing, right? Although we would get the 8/8, which is important. In this scenario, we're getting the 8/8, which is kind of interesting. I really like the idea of accessing the 8/8 and them only having maybe an access to Florbegon if they've got something like a formula. So that was the logic for Ruination. They're still losing 2 interaction pieces. Oh, sorry, ignore that. We don't get the 8/8. This is a play that happens later where we can get the 8/8. We don't get the 8/8, so this is definitely the right play. Vengeance, get the Florbegon. Now they can do like a responsive Vengeance. And then they've got Florbegon and Heimer, and we've just got this. But then at that point, we can do stuff with the Ruination. We can do stuff with the Vengeance. We've got options for playing around that. We are feeling a little bit on the back foot because they did respond to our Heimer with their Heimer, and they had more mana. Well, not that they had more mana, but they had the possibility of doing something to us without spending mana, which is the same thing as having more mana, right? Because then we're forced to spend mana to deal stuff. I know there's a lot of arrows, but I think it's still okay. We've got interaction pieces for things like the Florbegon. We've got something for Heimer. We've got something if push comes to shove. We've got draw. This isn't a bad scenario, even if they're 3 mana up in a deck that really likes having 6 mana, when this is like equal, except they're clearly doing a bit better than us in terms of mana. I'm not too concerned about our scenario here. And I do like the Vengeance on the Jayce. I think that's just like a good play to force them to do something onto this. Like say, okay, bet, have a Vengeance, have, a Hex Split or something. Are they on Hex Split? I doubt it. They're on Piercing, right? Yeah.
Play Florbegon. Haha. Piercing Darkness. Okay. Oh, we probably should have done Formula, I think. I was thinking about it, but I forgot to do it on the actual action.
Yeah, so I definitely think we should have done Formula. It was something I was thinking about, but I decided not to just because I wasn't thinking about it enough. Because we would have gotten 2 of these, and while keeping this up is okay, I'm perfectly willing to just have this and just have this. Now, it's playing less into piercing, like if they've got Piercing Darkness, which they did have to kill the Heimer, and then they've got something like a Shock Blast, maybe, then they can kill this unit, and then we don't have 8 mana, so we can only afford 1 out of Vengeance or Mystic. So they will retain the 6/1 in our attempts to kill this, while they get to play like another thing. Maybe they play their own formula. Now they've got 2 6/1s and we can't interact with them. So formula is interesting where it does allow us to be more aggressive because we'd have 2 6/1s. But provided they've got something like a Shock Blast or a Caustic, our 2 6/1s really lose badly to the fact that we're forking ourselves with only having 7 mana. So while past me says formula should have been played, and I don't think it's a bad play, with them still being able to retain Heimerding it, I think this is a better line to have access to both Vengeance and Mystic. The worst scenario that could occur is them having a 6/1 after this by them having formula, but they wouldn't have 2 6/1s. Alternatively, if they do formula before they do Shock Blast, we can ruin and fuck up their day. But yeah, I think not playing formula here was probably correct, but it looks a little awkward. I think it just plays around more of the stuff that they could possibly do.
I think we'll Mystic Shot Florbegon then. To be aggressive? Or do we want to hold up Ruin?
I think I said that thinking they had the attack token. God, I'm messing up on a few things here. They would still end the turn with 2 of these. Now we would be able to do Mystic Shot fast speed afterwards, so they'd really only have 1 of these. And we could do Ruin, but we're not going to open attack, so our first play is going to be passing, and first passing is quite bad. We can kill Heimer, but then they do formula, and then we're feeling a little bit awkward. Maybe they even just Vengeance this, and then they've still got the 6/1s, and we're not feeling great. We can still Mystic one of them. So worst scenario is that on their next attack token, they'd have only a 6/1, I think. They wouldn't have 2 6/1s, which is what I was scared of. So just because we do have the Mystic, right? So Mystic will always counter this even if it's their attack token again. But I think it might still be better to not have played formula. It also plays around a possible Caustic in any of these draws. So their draw and then that draw, which is unlikely because we know none of these are Caustic, but it's still possible. And if they've got Mystic, it gets even worse or more concerning. I think I'm okay. Oh, you can play Control X to remove everything. Oh, am I pogging? Holy shit. Can I just like verify this? Because this is really nice if I can press X to remove everything. Nice. Okay. Yeah. So I think not playing Formula was correct, but it's very awkward.
We could end up vengeancing Heimer. In fact, one thing we could do is attack and immediately vengeance Heimer, if we want. Never mind, we've got Piercing Darkness. Should we start with Piercing? What would you do here, Gamesy? There's so many decent plays. We can open, we can Piercing, we can vengeance.
Now this one's an interesting play. I think there's lots of interesting lines. So one thing I like about opening Vengeance is that they can't Piercing and get a turret, right? So if they had Piercing here, they wouldn't be able to Piercing to get a turret. If they had something like a Caustic, that's, you know, fine, they get the 3-1, but they're not able to get anything more than that. So any slow speed spell, we're basically countering. We're countering Aftershock, we're countering Production Surge, we're countering Piercing Darkness, we're countering Shock Blast, right? All of these get countered by putting Vengeance on the stack right now. Alternatively, we can do this because Vengeance is obviously fast speed while this is slow speed, meaning that we can retain fast speed if it's useful for things in future. I don't think it's too important to retain that for future. So I do like doing Vengeance early. Doing it like this can sort of bait them in quotes to using a slow spell on this as opposed to a fast spell that they might have. But I think if they had a fast spell, they would feel comfortable doing it. So I still kind of like putting Vengeance on the stack right now. I think it's a really interesting play. Gemsy doesn't say to, so I don't do it. But I think it's something that's definitely worth considering just to like prevent this from any slow speed buffing cards. And like we spend 6 mana, we'll have 8+1 next turn, so we do have enough for like Ruin or, you know, this plus this, right? So we've still got options like for the turn after if we Vengeance right now. So I think it's interesting to Vengeance. I see why he doesn't, right? It's very specific stuff that we're playing around with only like marginal upside, while this, you know, we get to keep fast speed. And, you know, one of the first rules you learn in LOR is to keep your fast speed spells and when you don't have to use them at slow speed, right? And we could do this in other options. Alternatively, we can also do this but not attack on the speed. So this stays down here. We just do this. It's a very similar play and I kind of like it. The difference obviously is this is worse into slow speed spells still once more, but they wouldn't be able to get the turret. So there are sort of like 3 scenarios where we can do what we've done, right? Which is just attack. And then if they've got a slow speed spell, they do it. And then we do this and it's sort of equidistant. But if we do this now, we're beating a slow speed spell, like both of these at the same time. And if we do this now, we're beating a slow speed spell, but we might be losing this unit. And if we do it this way, we beat a slow speed spell and keep this unit for the attack. So I think this is the right play. I think Vengeance on the stack is the right play, but I might be missing something because it feels weird. So I'm possibly missing something here. I don't know. I've got time. We can like break this down. 3 options. We've got attack, we've got Vengeance and attack, and we've got slow speed. Just do this. In the scenario that they've got a slow speed spell, this lets us deal 6, but they get a 6-1. This lets us deal 6 and they don't get a 6-1. And this lets us not deal 6 and they don't get a 6-1. Right? So that makes me think this is better. But there's like hidden costs where like we have no fast in this world. And that could be a concern. Like Vengeance is an important tool for just being fast. But I think if we're trying to play around slow speed stuff, this is the right play. If their stuff is fast speed, I still think this is the right play. It doesn't change anything, so may as well. And if we want to play around second Heimer, I think this is still the right play. So you know what? I'm pretty happy with this one. I think, yeah, I'm sorry, this one. This is the one that I want. Because they don't, yeah, I want them to not have anything. So this is what I want. And this is no fast. Sorry, I got my symbols confused. Who could think that just drawing arrows to represent attacking, doing this, and doing this would be confusing? But I think this world where we do this and we do this is the best world. I think. So, sorry, Gimsy, I think we did the wrong play.
Cool. I'm just scared of like a shock blast or something.
I think I do like doing the Vengeance here. I think the Vengeance is very cool.
I presume our plan is to use this for progress day and this for formula and this for draw at some point.
Using formula for formula? Holy hell, Spidz. You're really thinking.
They're passing? Do we want to kill Heimer or do we want to pass back? My instinct is pass back. But your choice. Kill Heimer or pass back. Okay. I don't think it's a bad... I think it's really close. Both options I think are pretty good. What? Okay.
Yeah, I was flummoxed by that working. Like, that really shocked me. We've got so much of a read on these cards. I think we're willing to say, like, no formula, no mystic, right? I think you could argue no caustic as well. Riding with a mouse isn't easy. What other things don't they have? They probably don't have... Is that it? Oh, God, that might just be it. Which isn't, like, a massive read, but it's nice to know. Obviously, one of these still costs 6 mana. It might be this card. And... That's about it. So they probably got like a bunch of these unit cards, like a Pharaohs and Albus, maybe a Jason and Heimer. They could have, I think they probably would have played Veng, but this one's a little bit uncertain, right? Because maybe they're trying to keep Vengeance for, you know, Heimer or Jayce, right? So like Vengeance is a bit of an unknown. So they could have Vengeance, but everything else I think they would probably just do if they had it.
Do they have second Heimer? I'm surprised that worked. I thought they were going to like kill our Florby gun and get their own Florby gun. Okay, they've got Pharaohs. That means they've got 2 6-cost spells in hand.
Yeah, so it's something like
2 of their
this is
spells cost 6.
This is 6.
If they, so they didn't kill this at all. Like they didn't kill our Florby gun. So I think that means they don't have Mystic. Okay, they've got Heimer. But I think that means they don't have Mystic or Aftershock or Caustic. Ooh, okay. Depends what they do here, but I think we could kill Heimer with Vengeance. Because we can just attack them with Florby gun. I don't hate that at all. Mystic.
And that was from the
Do you
top?
want a Vengeance Heimer right now? Or do you want to like wait or something? There's a few interesting plays here. I think I want a Vengeance Heimer, but you might disagree. We could even do Formula Vengeance. But I think Vengeance is just better. Formula then decide. Interesting, okay. Alright, now Vengeance? Or pass? Okay. I find it interesting because I didn't want a Formula just in case they play Formula themselves. Then we can't Aftershock their floor be gone. That was my only concern. Okay, they don't seem to have Vengeance. Or Formula. They don't have Formula.
So we could have had a read they didn't have formula last turn. So I'm very bad at hand reading. I basically never hand read when I'm in the game. Sans for thinking about like 6 mana units. Like them not having cards, I assume if they don't play Mystic, they could still have Mystic. They're just like not playing it for some reason. So I'm very bad at hand reading. This is something that I'm actively quite difficult at doing. So I think like my statement there where they don't have formula, I could have learned that from the previous turn. I think they would have formulated. I know they have second timer, but I think you could do formula there to develop the 6th one. Just to like get that trade to occur. Maybe I'm being a bit too aggressive with like formula in that instance for them, but I think because they do have the second Heimer, so maybe they just want to stick Heimer, but I think it's decent to read that in a formula, but sure, now we definitely know that in a formula. In addition, I don't know why we formulated. I think formula is interesting, but is any play ever going to be better than Vengeancing Heimer? And my instinct is no. I don't think there's ever a thing that we're doing where we're not Vengeancing Heimer. We don't run Soul Harvest. Do we run Soul Harvest? Is that why? We're on 2 Soul Harvest. That's got to be why. That's got to be why Gemsy wanted to do formula. So what? We would have 5 mana remaining? Or, yeah, we'd have 5 mana remaining. I think Vengeance is still better. I think going for formula is very specific, and in the world where we don't formula and we just Vengeance, we're able to hold up. Oh, that's backwards. This is forwards. In this instance, we Vengeance and we hold 4 mana, but we get to keep formula for future. Importantly, we get to keep this, which I really did want for the 6th one, no matter how it permutates. So it's interesting. But formula for Soul Harvest isn't awful. I don't hate formula for Soul Harvest. And we're not... Unless we're keeping this up, we're not actually doing anything else with mana. But at least we get to threaten mana, because now we're going down to 1 mana for absolutely no upside. Besides, obviously, formula, but we can formula whenever we want. So I think my instinct of wanting not to formula and keep this up is better. But I can see the logic for wanting to formula to find Soul Harvest, because Soul Harvest does kill this. Sorry, Soul Harvest costs 4 mana, not 2 mana. So we'd be down to 3 mana in that instance, which means we can develop this, but not this. I think Vengeance is fine. I think Vengeance was the correct play.
That was my
Soul
only concern.
Harvest.
Okay, they don't seem to have Vengeance. Or Formula. They don't have Formula, I think.
And this is the beginning of the
Jayce
end.
plus Production Surge, interestingly enough. Although if they have...
Right, this is where we
Oh,
start.
they're on Ruination. They'd have to get Ruination from Thinger. Holy shit, okay. I guess we're passing. Yeah, but I mean, if they ruin now, I'm happy, right? So I think we play Jayce.
We had the option of Production Surge, but this is literally our only other unit besides Production Surge, so I did want to...
And then do Production Surge, I think.
Yeah, I did want to do Jayce plus Production Surge. It felt really important for units.
And do you want Challenger or Quick Attack? Challenger, fair call, fair call. But I think we're very likely to be doing Production Surge here. Vengeance? That's gonna be Vengeance or Piercing, I think. And if it is that, I think we might do Pharaoh's Production Surge just to have blockers. Vengeance. We could do Formula Production Surge as well. We've got, what do you think we should do? We could do Pharaoh's and Production Surge to have blockers. We could do Formula and then just Production Surge. And try and find like our Mystic Shots instead. My instinct is Formula. Yeah. Yeah, Quietus was another thing. Perfect. This is exactly what I wanted. So I think we can just do Quietus Mystic, I think.
Yeah, so I think this is a really good draw. So we've got a few options. My fear point is that they've got units. We need to block these units, and we need to be able to beat stuff like interaction pieces or anything else, like developing more units. So this can be 6 units. It can also be 1 unit. And I hate playing this card. I think this card scares me every single time. I despise always, every time. I hate this card. One of the reasons I couldn't play Samira Heimer, which is a deck that Annie was making that I was having lots of fun with, is because every single time this would give me the 6-1 when I wanted units, and it would give me 1-1s when I needed the 6-1, which was rarer, but this card irritates me sometimes. So this one is fine, right? We can do this and this and get minimum 2 blockers, but Formula has 6 draws available, 5 if you include what we'll get from the top, and we can still play this for 1 to 3 units. So while the chances of this getting multiple units is lessened, it's still decently likely to get more than 1 unit. And if we get 1 unit, it's not as bad because we've managed to draw 4 things. So I do like playing Formula there. I think it's the better play.
Any disagreement?
You gotta play this, Spidz. Look at your timer. So one thing I should mention, when I play, I've got Master Tracker. Master Tracker takes about this much of the screen. I actually didn't see this at all. I was never looking at this. That's my bad. I should probably have Master Tracker like this in tournaments, but I really like it being flush with the name. I could also move this like over here, which you see in some tournaments, or James moves it here, which I think is interesting. There's a few places you can move this, but I wasn't looking at this the whole time. But Master Tracker doesn't appear on OBS, so you don't see the thing.
We don't have the Mystic now, by the way, so we could do Production Surge to have another blocker. Do you want to do Production Surge for a blocker? I think it's almost necessary. I mean, they don't have that much burn, but I think it's still a good play. Perfect. Our plan is going to outvalue them. 10 damage Ferrets? Hold on. I think we might have lethal.
10 damage
Or we
Ferrets
need to do a
is
survival
basically
and play Ferrets,
lethal.
and we win. If they ever tap on the 6 mana, we win on the spot. Shock Blast? Assembly Line.
And that's from
Do we play
that's from Pharaohs. Yeah, they don't run me.
Ruination or not? We're just going to lose to Production Surge if we play Ruination. That's from Ferris, by the way. It's actually from Hexagon normally. What do you think we should do here? We can do Ferris Financier, or we can do like Ruin. Yeah. So I think my instinct is just Ferris. Yes for Ferris? Okay. we'll take Song Spinner, I think. Or do you want Hextech Anomaly? Both are good. Or all of these are good. Do you have a preference? Might take the Song Spinner. Yeah. And if they ever tap under 6 mana, we've got Ferris. Their own Ferris. That does 6 damage. Okay, I think I'm gonna Hextech Transmogrifier. 3/3. We go down to 1 HP if we Hextech Transmogrifier. Sorry, I really don't have time to chat. No, other way around. No, other way. Fuck. Fuck. Ah. Well, that's fuck.
The chipmunk voice is very humorous.
No time. That's game, I mean. We can attempt it, but... that's so frustrating. Because we definitely could have easily won that. Because I think we basically won, right? We lose to Mystic, but that's about it. And they've only got 1 Mystic in the deck.
Yeah, I haven't talked during this section because I think it's good to see this in its entirety to understand the way in which this sort of event occurs. This is the right play to try and block their stuff. Like, we can block 1, 2, 3. We're only taking 5. And this is 10 damage. These 2 cards right here are basically lethal. Now, they could obviously have, like, a Vengeance or something, but they're slowing down their game. And we've obviously got this to draw cards. We've got this to do stuff. We've got this to do stuff. We can have things occur. So I'm very fine playing Albus and making this number 0. In fact, what's really, really cute is that if they don't kill Albus on the attack, we can just do this and do this. And they will die because it'll go to 11 and they can't heal at fast speed because SI lost healing cards at fast speed. So, like, we win this game provided that we convert this into this. Now, it's a little bit awkward because it's 2, 3, 4, 2. That becomes 7 and 4. Oh, but we block this. Sorry. So we get down to 7. We've got 9 health. We do lose to their Mystic. So if they've got Mystic, which again, they've only got 1 left in deck, I think I said. Maybe they've got... No, this is my deck list. Okay, they've got maybe 1 or 2 left in deck. I remember how many Mystic shots they've played. They've definitely played 1, I think. So we do lose to Mystic, but it's definitely the right play, right? Like, every time you do that play, you do the transmogrifier and you win, right? That is just like the right thing to do, and we just didn't. We didn't have the time because the timer ran out because we did this thing. So that's unfortunate, and I think you're going to hear me mention this like 6 or 7 or 10 times over the course of the next, how long do we have? Amount of time, because I'm upset by it. It's really unfortunate that this is the way the game went.
No
right?
time.
That's backwards. This is forwards.
Right, we lose to Mystic, but that's about it. And they've only got 1 Mystic in the deck. God, that's... Yeah, I know. Typing is tough, but... Yikes, that's frustrating. Because that was so winnable. Alright, in this matchup I want to keep like this. Thoughts? Do you want to keep Jayce, or... Yeah, anything else? Yeah, but do you want to keep Jayce or Forge Chief, or do you want to just, like... Are you okay with what I've got for now? Or do you want to keep Jayce?
Interesting mulligan. I think Jayce is cool because Challenger can do stuff like kill Sun Guardian. Right, we'd be playing it on turn 4 on their turns, but Jayce can do interesting stuff to Sun Guardian. Maybe it's a bit too late, so maybe... Okay, hold on. P button. Thanks. Maybe Jayce is like a little bit too late, so there's a reason not to keep Jayce. This is obviously healing. Cool, we don't have Vile Piece anymore, so this is really nice. And this blocks. This is, I love Forge Chief. She blocks the units. So this is a decent mulligan. And this is almost a perfect hand. And this is definitely like a really good hand against their deck. This is just like abusive. So it feels good.
Timers are so frustrating. Sure. some actions on my own because I want to make sure that we're fine on time, I think. I'm not going to Soul Harvest, I don't think. Yeah. I want it for like Leona or Sun Guardian, I think. I will quiet this.
Yeah, so this is a really important piece of removal for Sun Guardian, which is like, if we don't kill Sun Guardian with this, we're killing it with this. That's just the truth of the situation. This is the only cheap way to kill Sun Guardian. These can kill Leona, and these are only 1 mana more expensive than Leona. I'm not too upset by that, but this is so necessary for Sun Guardian. That's why I'm not doing it on this unit. Like, it prevents 3 damage, but this also prevents 3 damage, or 2 damage later on. I don't want them to have Sun Guardian. That's a champion for them if we don't kill it on site. And they're not holding up Pale anymore.
Yeah.
So
And then
this
we'll
is
just open
definitely the
pass.
right play to
We'll do
play.
something like a Soul Harvest. If they play the Sun Guardian. We could High Note, but I don't think it's necessary. So I'm just gonna pass. We could High Note there though. I don't hate it. Yeah. Alright, now do you want to High Note? Be mana efficient? Or do you want to just pass again? Do we want High Note for like High Note? Okay, fair call. We do lose to Pale Cascade. That's the reason not to High Note, is Pale Cascade.
So I didn't Pie Note originally because I wanted them to be scared and, I don't know, play Soul Harvest, and then I pog out. I think High Note was probably correct. Now, there's weird stuff with Heimer. Heimer is a really interesting card in these decks because if you stick Heimer and you're not dying, and importantly, you've got cheap spells to make Heimer work, you're going to feel good, right? Because that wins you the game. Heimer plus 2 spells is game winning because now they need to develop wide. Now you do Piercing Darkness. Now you developed another unit because of Heimerdinger. So, like, Heimer changes how you think about everything, especially when, like, this is too expensive, this is too expensive. If we're playing something on turn 5, we need a 2 mana card. So keeping this for Heimer is super interesting. Same with keeping this for Heimer. So there's reason to not play this. And so I didn't want to do it immediately. But then I saw this number, and I was like, uh-oh, this number could go low. I need to be scared. So I decided to play High Note, but obviously it just loses to Pale when this becomes a 3-3. So I think it's much safer to just open with this. I think it's also safer to not play this after they play this. I think the correct play here was to pass.
Right. The other reason to not High Note is also because we want
I think this is the worst time to play this card. I think I should have just
But I guess
passed.
if they Pale, like, we're okay with it. They're burning a lot of mana. Okay.
But it ended up being fine, which was lucky, I think.
Do you want to do Piercing? Or do you just want to take it? Because what we could do, or we could also do Soul Harvest. I guess we just Soul Harvest, right? Or do we want Soul Harvest for Heimer? Because we can do Heimer on 4, Heimer on 5, Soul Harvest on 5 to have another blocker. So maybe we just take it? Or we can Piercing and be safe and outvalue them. Soul Harvest. I don't want to lose some Might or Pale. So I think Soul Harvest is risky. I really don't want to lose to Might or Pale. So I think I'm going to Piercing. Taking it? Okay, I'll take it. It's risky, but I'll take it. And do we just want to play Formula then?
Yeah, so taking it's interesting. I'm very scared going to low HP. Now, we've obviously got 16 health. We've got 16 health because of this thing. But we also have to deal with these units, and they will have more units in hand. These clearly do things. They're not empty cards. They will do something at some point. So, you know, it's not a null set. It's not like they've got this in hand. So we do need to be a little bit scary. And if my plan was to stick Heimer and do this, like, we do need to be a little bit scared of the stuff they could have. But I don't hate it. This is a sad play. This prevents 3 damage and it heals us back to full. So we're going to be at 17 after this, I think, which could be a reason to do this. I think if I was to make this on my own, I would have done this card. If I was playing on my own, I would have played Piercing Darkness, but Gemsy's played more of this deck with than me. I'm willing to trust him that formula's better.
Alright. I think we'll do Heimer into Soul Harvest though. As long as there's no objections. They could have Sunburst, but they don't.
So one thing to note, if they've got Sunburst, it's 5 mana for 5 mana. Now they've got 3 unit mana, but at that point, like, we're saying, okay, we don't need to worry about Heimer dying anymore. We will just do Soul Harvest. We will then do this at fast speed or this at slow speed, depending on what occurs. So I think playing Heimer is always correct. I think that's fine.
And then next turn we'll probably do Piercing on Dayman, and if not on Dayman...
And also importantly, if they've got Sunburst, we do this. We play Mystic, and then we've got 2 units. This is a unit, right? Because it creates this, and then it also kills this. So we've done like a lot of stuff. So Heimer's definitely the right play every time.
We might even just Vengeance if they hold up Might Mana the whole time.
And this is a game-winning scenario. We've got Heimer on the field. We've got at least 1 spell, and they've got some cards, but unless it's Leona plus a 3/3, we're not scared. Like, this is a game-winning scenario by far, because they can't kill Heimer anymore.
Jayce. Leona could be quite scary. We'd have to Vengeance Dayman immediately, I think, if they play Leona. That way we can play a unit and not lose to Pale Cascade. Dayman. Okay, I think I'm gonna play Piercing Darkness. If they Pale... they can't afford Might if they Pale. So yeah, I'll do Piercing Darkness.
I think that's really important. Them paling is really good for us because we now have no fear of Might. And look, by the time they get the attack token again, by the time they get this again, we've got so much we can do. So much we can do that I don't care. So my biggest fear point now is like Might now, Leona next turn, weird stuff happening the turn after that, right? That's their win condition. If they don't do that, if they don't Might this turn, Leona stuff next turn, I am like swimming very, very pretty. Which is apparently an expression, which I've said. So I like piercing here. I got a lot.
They could have Pirouette, but I'm okay with that, I think. If they Pirouette, we can actually just block with Heimer. Okay, perfect. I guess... I think this... I don't want to lose to Might. Oh, I guess if they Might, they can do it on the Dayman and we take 1 billion damage. So I don't hate blocking.
Yeah, so Gemsy said in chat, block with Heimer. Importantly, that's what Gemsy said in chat.
Okay, I don't hate blocking with Heimer. It's interesting.
So, they've got 3 mana. I think it's pretty likely that they've got Might. And that's what Gemsy's saying as well. Might here with 8 overwhelm damage means that we're taking 7. So we'd be going down, and we don't do this block, right? We'd be going down to 6, and then keep this unit around. Now, we get to keep Heimer around, which is really good for us, and we've lost 1 Might. So I actually think we shouldn't block with Heimer. Now we lose to double fervor. Actually, no, we don't. We've got this. We don't lose to double fervor. So we've got weird scenarios where, you know, if these cards are like mights and fervors, then letting them do a might here, but keeping Heimer around, and then they do like another might at some point, and then they fervor afterwards. Like we do have our vengeances a little bricked, but I think it's fine for that to occur. In this scenario, by doing this block, we're saying, okay, might one of these. If we do this, we're saving health, right? If they might this, we go down to, what is it? You know, we go -8, we go down to 8 health. That's so much safer than 6. Or they do might here, and we've wasted one of their main pieces of interaction, and we're still at, 14, and we've got all of these interaction pieces. I think Gemsy is right that this is the safer play. So I do like this by Gemsy. But I think if I was playing, I wouldn't have done this block. I would have said, might me and win. I really like having multiple people on. One of the things that scares me about these VOD reviews is that I don't know everything. In fact, I know very, very little when it comes to these. So when I proclaim something, I'm not going to say the best lines. And often other really good players will disagree with most of the things that I say, which is concerning when I'm trying to at least be somewhat helpful and educational. So when I'm saying particularly disagreeable things, it gets me a little bit concerned. So having Gemsy here saying that yeah, this block is much better is really nice, because if Gemsy wasn't here, I would be spending 10 minutes saying why you should never do this. This is awful, angry face, right? But I see why Gemsy wants to do this.
The might is very weird.
That's why I liked having jam splits on that one time, and I hope to get any on at one point.
They do might to kill Heimer. Okay. That's one less might in the hand. They're going to have another Dayman. I think we're playing Jayce with Challenger. Or do we want to pass? Yeah. Do you want to Jayce with Challenger? Yeah.
And Challenger is almost always better.
Funnily enough, one of the Jayces said 1 out of 2 and the other Jayce said 2 out of 2. That was a bit weird.
This is the Challenger keyword and this is the quick attack keyword?
Leona is
this is always
I think
better.
we'll sacrifice Jayce into KO.
Oh, against these sorts of decks.
Oh, we don't need to. We can Vengeance. That's weird, because if they have Leona, we're in a bit of a tizzy. Do you want to attack? Or do you want to play Hexac Handler and attack, or do you want to just pass? I think we shouldn't play Handler, because we might need it as a blocker. Do you want to attack or not?
So Gimsy says something super clever here, and it's that none of the cards that cost 2 mana we're scared of. Like, so they could have Sabo, and that deals 1 damage, but okay, big deal. They could have Soldier, okay, big deal. They could have Pigeon. This is Soldier, this is Pigeon. Okay, big deal. They could have this thing. Okay, big deal. They could have this thing, it's like the owl. Okay, big deal. Like, all of these, who cares? It's unlike something like a Sun Guardian where we do care. If they had 3 mana, I think MC would have said not to do this attack, but none of the 2-drops matter. They've got 3 cards left. If this is a 2-drop, they've only got 2 cards left. We've got this. We're feeling fine. Like, momentum's very high. That's the logic there. And again, I think I would have passed. I would have been so greedy, but Gemsy, smart dude, knows what he's doing.
Handling though, I presume.
Like, I'm very thankful to have Gemsy around.
That's fair, yeah. They haven't played Sunhawk, so they might have Sunhawk, but yeah. I think we're in a decent position because we can just develop Hextech Handler and Vengeance and stuff. If their first action is Leona, we can just play Hextech Handler.
I think this also shows really well the value of a collaborative set. 4 plays, maybe 3 plays, I've wanted to do. Gemsy's done the opposite, and now I've agreed with Gemsy. I think that's a really good position to be in, and I'm glad that Gemsy was here for that. And I think it's really cool to see the collaborative set have such a very big impact on the way the games are going.
I'm gonna play Handler. And I'm not gonna wait for an okay, just because of time. Okay.
I do this because we can't afford 2 Vengeances anyway, so I may as well just play Handler as a blocker, force them to do more stuff, and then we can Vengeance afterwards if it's necessary. That was my logic for Handler. Now, this obviously stuns both, but I don't mind.
I'm just gonna play another Handler. I think this is very fine. There's nothing I'm scared about, and now we can even block Sun Guardian. Weakest. Alright. I still don't care. They're at 1 card. Perfect. Alright.
And look, we've won at this point, right? We've won for
think
quite a
I'll play
while
Handler.
now, but we've clearly
gonna wait
won.
for
I'm
it
just
again.
going to let this
I'm
play. I'm not going to talk too much about it.
I'm just gonna get us to win. I think at this point, it's not too much of an issue how we win.
I even say to Gemsy, like, don't bother talking anymore. Like, not that I want Gemsy to not talk. Gemsy's a great person, but that, like, it's redundant. Look, they've got 2 cards. We've got a bigger board than them and more cards than them. Like, we've won the video game. There's nothing to be concerned about.
Like, we pretty demonstrably won at this point, right?
I'm keeping it in here for
Thanks, Gemsy, for
completeness sake. Maybe the enemy gamers just want to remember how the whole game goes through. Maybe it's important for some reason, but you can skip a few minutes ahead. It's fine.
If we lose because of the transmogrifier thing, like, that's gonna upset me.
Oh, they surrender. Okay, never mind.
We've got Norra Veigar into this deck, which should be good, right? Like, we just play Norra, we get some units, and, you know, just keep early units, basically, I think.
Yeah, so I want to do a quick side note. If you look at Heimer, this deck, can I know, I want to draw even more. Let me draw. So, if you want to break it up, something like this, and then this is where it starts diverging. Everything here you want, everything here you don't want. That's pretty much it, right? This is how this matchup goes. Against like aggro decks, everything at the top you want, everything at the bottom you don't. Against control decks, it looks a bit more like everything you want is here as well as this card and this card and this card. And everything here you also want. So it's a little bit weird, but very much against their deck, you want stuff here. Especially this, especially this, especially this. Let me just fix the arrow, it's facing here. And especially Concho, Junk Construct, and Catalyzer. So not getting those, which is what you're going to see, spells a bit of a concern.
Yeah, if we keep early units and maybe like a Soul Harvest or a Pythos. I did this matchup once, I think, earlier.
We did it in the last video.
I'm going to keep like this. Just Concho.
I think we talked about Vengeance last time, so I'm not going to talk about it again.
Okay, no Pythos, no Quietus is a little bit sad.
Yeah,
Pythos
this really concerned me. No Pythos and no Quietus was super scary to me.
and Quietus would be quite nice here, as well as Norra. But hopefully we do fine. I'll probably play Junk Construct first. Yeah.
And if you remember last time, I was talking a lot about how Saboteur can fuck us up. This is
Pythos would have been nicer.
what I mean.
And
Saboteur
Norra would
can
be nice.
really fuck us up if we don't drop Pythos.
But that's okay. I'm going to start with Junk Construct, I think, instead of Concho. Isn't Concho better just in case we find Pythos? Yeah, okay. We thought? Do you have a preference? Yeah, okay.
I think sapling
I guess
toss
if
is
they
also
play a unit, we
correct.
can just sapling toss, right?
Gives you a
Like if they play
unit.
we
Everything's
sapling
good
toss.
about sapling toss.
Yeah, we sapling toss, right?
And
Yeah,
look,
okay.
it's such a happy dude. He allows us to block, right? It's really important that we can defeat blocks.
We can actually attack with contra, I think. I probably misplayed by not attacking with contra. Attack with contra? Yeah.
It's actually weird. I think attacking with Conchu is wrong. And I think
I
it's
don't hate that block from them.
because
I
of
think
this.
it's fine.
Because that is a good block by them. And now they've got a 3-3 they never have to worry about. And this they never have to worry about.
They could do something like Sunhawk, but I think in the event that they Sunhawk, I'm not too upset.
It's interesting. It's a very interesting attack. Maybe it is correct.
If
It's
they
something
Sunhawk,
I'm
I'll
not sure
probably play
about.
Jump Construct. No, okay. I think I'll block the 2-1. Submit? Okay, and then I'm gonna do Contra. I mean, we could do Veigar, but I'm gonna do Contra.
I miss
Let's try
Vile
this.
Feast.
We can do
Vile
Portal
Feast would have
Police next
changed
time,
that
which
so
is
much.
Oh, weird. All of these, like, Poro Stories isn't awful. Do you have a preference between Pythos and Poro Stories? Cake. Yeah, I think I agree. But that
So he says this because of Portal Palooza and Junk Construct. We've got units. We can go wide. Our big concern now is things we need to interact with. Now, this isn't a great piece of interaction. Now it's turn 3. Pythos is starting to lose its use, while Poro Stories can develop units without any sort of RNG factor, so we can use these for big destructions. But we're still in an awkward position. I actually think, like, so many other cards would have been better. SI Tailstones, I think, is a better choice now.
Okay, we're gonna open with Contra and then Pythos on the stack if they let me.
But we're starting to lose into a lot of mighty stuff and a lot of Leona-y stuff right
Do
now.
Portal Police and stuff.
Like, that's
this is
the way
right.
we
I'm gonna do
lose.
this.
And Norra. And
Yeah.
Sun Guardian. These are the ways that we lose the game.
Do you want to Jump Construct or
And
Portal Police?
and Winding Light,
Is it?
importantly.
Or Veigar? Do you have a preference for unit? Samira. We could try and kill Samira. We could do Jump Construct Samira. If their open doesn't kill us. Their open's pretty scary. Yeah, it's weird. Okay, I'm gonna pass. I'm not gonna play Pythos or anything.
So I think in retrospect I should have played Pythos. Even if they've got Pale Cascade, it means they can't do this anymore, which means they have to develop a unit, and that lets us do some cute stuff. It lets us play this, lets us see what our draw is. There's a few things it lets us do. I think Pythos is fine to do this. Pythos only really now hits the 2-1, and that's kind of it. Pythos doesn't do too much else. It does hit whatever this decides to attack, but we can assume that over the course of the next few turns, they're going to develop things with 3 health or 4 health or 5 health. So I think Pythos was correct. Now, the reason I didn't do it is because, 1, I'm burning 2 mana, but I think they would have developed stuff if they could have, so I don't think that's a good argument. And you could hold up mana for this plus like 3 mana worth of other stuff, but we don't have 3 mana worth of other stuff in hand. So I think I like playing Pythos. I think Pythos is the right play here, and I'm sorry I didn't do it. I think Pythos was definitely correct.
Norra is so nice. I'm so glad to see her. I'm gonna play Portal Blazer, I think. I'm a little bit scared of like Pirouette, but I think we're just supposed to play Portal Blazer. Any disagreement? Do you want to play Catalyzer or do you want to pass? Yeah, okay.
We could have done Portapalooza last turn and done this on this action, which is one of the things that Gemsy was suggesting. And I think had I done that, it would have been a little bit better if we could have had an extra chance at drawing. So maybe Portapalooza was better last turn. And I think, I say maybe, Portapalooza was better last turn. But if I did Junk Construct, I should have done it with the Pythos.
Quiet or Pythos would have been nice, I think. We're in a weird position because I kind of want to Ishtali, but I also want to do other things. this is a lot. It's so scary. They're definitely trying to mite us, right? So I reckon we do this. We could be blocking D-Man. This is so weird. There's so many things we could be doing. But I think it's this.
So they very clearly have might, and for some reason my thinking is like, this is how to beat might, because they don't want to might this, and they don't want to might this, they want to might this, and therefore if we just don't block, oh look, they can't might. Oh, we've won. I think if we wanted to play around might, we should have put this here and this here, right? That way if they put might on here, it's adding, right? So might always adds 3 damage, right? So might just like always adds +3, right? If they might here, they add +3. If they might here, they add +3, and if they might here, they're adding +0, right? If we block with this unit here and this unit here. Right now, however, this might adds +4. All right? This might adds +2, and this might adds +0. So all they've done is made it so might is better. That's all they've done all of a sudden. It's kind of weird that I've done that. Oh, not +4, sorry. This is +1. Ignore me. This is +1. So this does play around might more, but we haven't put damage on this thing, and I think putting damage on this thing is really nice for a certain type of thing that I could possibly be doing. And look, we've made might do 1 less damage by doing it like this, right? So might has done 1 less damage, but we don't have vengeance. We can't kill this unit. We're very scared of a ravine. X. Hell yes, Spidz. You're learning the program. So I think this should have gone here. We take 1 more damage, and, you know, that's sad. It does play around if they don't have might a lot. I think an important thing I'm missing with that equation, if I go back to like the +3, this adds +2, this adds +0, and this adds +1 with might in this current scenario. If we had put this here and this here, and this was instead +3, this was instead +3, and this was instead +0. Importantly, hold on, am I right? I might be mistalking right now. No, I'm wrong. I was about to say something that was wrong. Ignore that. So I think we should have done, ooh, okay. We definitely should have done the block where this goes here and this goes here, but I didn't. Because putting health on this matters a lot for Pythos.
Might, yep.
You do might, and like we've lost.
Surprise me.
We've lost the game.
I think we play Norra here. But we might be playing Ishtali as well, which is weird. But I think we do Norra. They've got lethal with fervor, which is super scary. Because they've got flare plus fervor. Right? Right, we can beat fervor all of a sudden. Ishtali or open? I think it's open now that we have Hate Spike. Yeah.
So we don't lose to fervor because we've got Pythos plus this. So if they fervor this way and they don't have Pale Cascade, we've won, right? Because this is 1 damage and fervor does 3.
Irritating matchup.
And 1 + 3 is around 4, give or take.
Veigar does 2 damage. We can develop like tons of units with Portal Palooza and Twisted Catalyzer. Shield Bearer. I think we just play Catalyzer. We can beat Fervor. We've got Hate Spike, Pythos.
Gamzee is saying they can win with fervor, and I'm saying no. We've got Pythos and thing for this, but this is too much health. But funnily enough, we've got Buzzling Signpost, so clearly we can beat fervor. Surely, 100% of the time, every time we beat fervor.
Oh, that thing is 6 HP. I guess so, yeah. I mean, we do have Puzzling Signpost, but...
So, I'm going to say something weird. I think this is a misplay. I think we're supposed to play this. I think we're supposed to say they don't have fervor. Now, we can beat fervor with Signpost, or we can interact with fervor, let's say. Let's not say beat. Let's say we can interact with fervor. But we Signpost. We've got this unit. They've got 3 things, and they still have, what, their inevitable fervor plus this. They open. We're forced into doing one of these or getting our portal, and they can also just develop units. They will eventually have fervor, and this spell, they can stall us out a lot. And so the only other way to win after that, if this occurs, just if for some reason we do this, they fervor, we counter with this spell, they open, we survive, we play this on our next turn, we attack with it or we defend with it somehow, and they somehow don't interact or block with the Ishtali Sentinel, and we go to 8 HP or 7 or whatever because of this thing, then maybe, just maybe, this play plus this play is correct. However, I think in a lot of scenarios, we're just supposed to play this card and we're supposed to say, you don't have fervor, let's stabilize if you don't have fervor. Because I think a card like this could win if no fervor, right? It also sort of requires no Sunhawk, but remember, we're going to be getting units from the portals that we've got, and I think there should be 3 portals in deck at the moment, so I think this might be the better play, but what I decide to do is play around fervor for some weird reason and do this. You could disagree with that, though. You could say that it's worth playing around fervor and playing for the opportunity of, you know, doing this and then doing this later on. It's very interesting. You've got a few options there.
Yeah, that's fervor.
But it's fervent time.
I'm not happy about our scenario, but we're not dead.
Imagine if we had Pytossed Samira ages and ages ago. Like, they could have had Pale Cascade, but imagine if we just had. They also needed to spend mana for that to occur, right?
Technically.
Like, Pytoss ages and ages ago would have been really, really nice. Or Portal Polizer on that turn before we did Junk Construct. There were definitely a few things we could have done this game that would have made it better. And you know the result. We lose. We do lose this game.
If they've got a stun, though, we might be.
So keep that in mind over the next few turns. Now, double hate spike draws are really nice. If we're trying to beat fervor, double hate spike draws is very, very
We're losing
good.
to a lot. I really wish we had drawn the Quietus or the Pythos earlier.
Yeah, back to that Saboteur. If we had drawn, you know, Pythos one turn earlier, we'd have been at 6 HP. And we wouldn't have had to have lost our controller just into that unit. Right? Pythos or Quietus would have changed everything about how this game is going. We would be, like, really winning, I
And I
think.
wish we had not fucked up the Heimer Jayce thing.
And the Heimer Jayce thing also concerns us. This hasn't been, like, an amazing set for us.
There are a lot of things that could have gone differently in this game.
Mm-hmm.
A Wallop would have been nice too. Twilight. I guess we do Portal Police it. Oh, but now we can't kill Spear. Oh, we can. We've got double hate spike. So I guess we just do Flame Jumpers. We're technically not dead. Yeah, let's do Flame Jumpers. We can totally win this. I think it's totally winnable, for sure. I don't think it's winnable at all. Like, we can play Ishtali next turn and, like, force a win out by our teeth with Ishtali. But I think, look, like, I think we drew slightly badly in as much as we really wanted Norra or Quietus or Pythos early. Because Pythos kills, like, that one unit, right? It kills Legion Saboteur. I think we just needed a few things to go slightly different ways. Yeah, that's the correct play by then, every time. You don't have to attack with everything. I'm okay with that. No, they do. Yeah, okay. We do this. 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 Yeah. Sure. I think I should have blocked this with Norra. Because if they do Fervor now, I would have rather kill Daylight Spear and keep Norra alive. So I think I did misblock.
So it's weird. On one hand, I want this to have 3 health so that we can hate spike it to win. On the other hand, I want Norra to stay alive. So if they do Fervor right now to play around something, I don't know what, but to play around something, then we would have kept Norra around, right? Like if we wanted to double hate spike, like this way. So, sure. But I think this is better because putting this at 3 health is so important for hate spike stuff. Ugh.
However, so we can do Veigar and sacrifice Veigar, but I think we're just supposed to play Flame Jumpers. And then Ishtali next turn, and just hope it's enough. We've got 2 portals. I think we need Ishtali for healing. I don't think we can justify not healing. They should have a day unit and a night unit in hand, so it should be day, night unit, Fervor, Flare. So that means the hand might be something like Sunburst, which is a little scary. So maybe we should be doing Quarterpalooza to beat Sunburst hands. Okay, well, I'm gonna play Ishtali. They could stun Ishtali, but that's just something we have to acquiesce. And I will just attack with it. I don't want her to be pirouetted, I don't want her to be stunned. Plus, they're gonna further block Ishtali, right? So Ishtali's not gonna get hit in this turn anyway. Also, we're minus on time, so we're gonna have, like, no timer, so I'm gonna have to just, like, make plays, I think. Which is unfortunate, but I think it's a necessary evil.
They're thinking.
Okay. I think I'm gonna hate Spike. Because I want them to further, and then I'm just gonna hate Spike them again. So I'm gonna play hate Spike. Yeah. I think. Heyo. Yep, I'm gonna do Pythos. Are they gonna level Samira? I sure hope not. Oh, you know what's weird? I can't Pythos. Because if they further, I can't kill the unit anymore. Okay. That's my bad. Maybe this hate spike was always wrong. Okay, they further right now. Okay, you waste a second further. It's not right to further right now. They should, you know, chump block the Ishtali, right? Yeah. I think maybe hate spike was wrong. We'll attack like this. They're gonna do further here.
I don't know if the hate spike on the unit beforehand was wrong or not. My thinking is that it's okay because clearly this is what they're gonna do for everyone. Like that's non-arguable, and so doing it now is okay. That way we get to sacrifice this instead of anything else. But I don't know. I think it's okay. But it is a bit weird looking.
No, okay. We lose Catalyzer? I don't think that's... I mean, it's bad, but it's not too bad. Okay, so now they've got 3 flares. That's also lethal. Which is irritating. But it depends if we can lifesteal before they access the flares. Oh, never mind, we should just fight us. Yes, I'm gonna fight us. We can also do Veigar. If we play Veigar, we don't lose Sunlight anymore. Shadestalker. Yeah, that was the card I was planning on playing around. Shadestalker. I guess we could have played around it by not Pytossing. Oh, wait, we've got an elusive. Hold on. Veigar is at 0. We've got an elusive, my bad. They can challenge at the elusive, but we'd get an opportunity to lifesteal, I think. No, we wouldn't. They'd challenge at the elusive, but just not let us block with the Ishtali. The correct play for them is to challenge at elusive. Okay. I'm gonna play Veigar to stun, I think.
Yeah, so I just want to talk about what's going on here. So, because what I've said is, I think, clear to me, but I just want to, like, re-clarify it. So, this could block this, but then they can just do this to challenge it. Now, I could want to lifesteal on this, but if they just don't attack with this, which they shouldn't do, they shouldn't attack with that, then this hits the Nexus, then they will just generate another flare from Samira. That's 3 health. I'm dead. So that's why I am sad in this scenario. They end up playing Leona, which gives us an action, which is interesting.
Alternatively, we could darkness the elusive unit.
And now we've got a few options.
But I think we also need to develop 2 units in one action. So I think it's Veigar plus stun. Like Event Horizon.
Now, we don't have time, so I just do stuff. We've got 2 options. We can do this play. So one thing, we can't... There's no reason to... X delete P. Okay. There's no reason to play this unit. This unit, again, same issues. Gets challenged. 2 + 1 is lethal. So there's no reason to do it that way. But what we can do is we can do Veigar and then, like, the Pentagon stun, right? Like, we can either focus the Pentagon stun on this unit to stop the flare and to stun this. Or if we want to play around Pale Cascade, not Might. Might is lethal on any unit they can have, right? So Might, I don't worry about. But if I want to play around Pale Cascade, we can actually do the Pentagon stun on this unit and then only take 1 damage from the generated flare, which is... Sorry, 1 damage from the generated flare, which is interesting. It's a really interesting line, and we can develop this, right? Or we can just attack with this. We've got options after that. So we've actually given ourselves a vague opportunity. Another option is to play this unit to try and find another elusive. That's unlikely, though. I think this is a much more reliable lane.
I think that's our only way to win. And we have to choose if we want to play around Might or Heyo. So we could block. We could either stun Shadestalker or not. I think we're supposed to stun Shadestalker to play around All Out. I think this is the correct play. It plays around All Out as well as a few other things. But maybe we can't justify that. I don't know, we're going to be open attacking, right? So I think this is fine.
And so this plays around All Out and Pale Cascade. Those are the only things it plays around, but it plays around All Out and Pale Cascade. And it works!
We do lose to Pirouette. Pirouette does kill us. Because Flare plus Pirouette is lethal. We'll open with Ishtali. Okay, we'll definitely open with Ishtali because I don't want them to Pirouette. Or top deck Pirouette. And then we can play another Ishtali. Okay, hold on now. I think I'm gonna Darkness Samira.
This lets us hopefully
really
prevent
hate
a
that
rally.
rally.
If they don't have a fast speed, burst speed spell, we can beat a rally. Now, Pale Cascade would beat us, and they could have had Pale Cascade. Although, yeah, Pale Cascade beats us. Might beats us, but they would have played Might last turn. Heaven's Aligned beats us, unless that's Focus. That's Focus, because otherwise it would fuck up Leona. So Heaven's Aligned doesn't beat us. There's only a few things that beat us here. All Out does, Samira's All Out does, but they would have played that before.
I mean, if they rally
Or they
lose, we
couldn't have
just
played that before, so they would play it now if they've got it.
If
So-
they've got Flare plus any spell.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
basically
if
Flare
they don't
plus
do
a
anything,
spell.
that means they don't have a spell. Might. Okay, we lost.
And they got Might. Now, where was Might? Was Might a top deck? Can I just, like, quickly check how they played this game? Because I don't know if I should make fun of them or not.
Hold on now.
Okay, this is last turn.
Okay, we'll definitely open with Ishtali because I don't want them to Pirouette. Or top deck
Okay,
Pirouette.
so they've got this card. We don't know what this one is.
And then we can play another Ishtali. Okay.
So
Okay,
this one I
hold
think
on
might
now.
be Might. Yeah, so that was Ravine, which means that's generated, which means this one might be Might. And if that's Might, then that's how we lose. Just double checking that was
I
their
think I'm
top
gonna
deck and they didn't
Darkness
misplay
Samira.
last turn.
I really hope they can't rally. I mean, if they rally, we lose. We just have Darkness Samira. If they've got Flare plus any spell. Okay, if they don't do anything here, that means they don't have a spell. Might. Okay, we lost. We've lost. That's game. Top deck Might gives it to them. It was close. We could have done something like play Ishtali, but... Okay, they don't decide to play around Vengeance, which is... I mean, sorry, this is play around Vengeance. They've got Twilight Protector. I'm almost certain there's nothing we can get off Portalpalooza, but it's technically our only play. Wallop, if we had one more mana and got things off Portalpalooza. Like, if we had gotten a Zia plus Ottopus, we would have made it. Not a Zia, Doomkeeper. If we got Doomkeeper plus Ottopus, we would have survived. Or Shell Shocker. Oh, those are 1 mana. Those from Mirai Warden. We'd get House Spider. That's probably rotated. We'd get Mirai Warden plus Rumble Slug. We could make it. But yeah. Look, if we hadn't fucked up the first game and if we drew slightly better, like we needed Quietus or Pytos to stem early aggression, we sort of lost that because we were at 11 health by turn 3 or something. I think we would have done fine.
And that's the end of the recording, I think. I think I just ended the recording there. Yeah, so... Hold on, yeah. We could have done some... Sorry, the mulligan sucked. The mulligan was really sad. If we had drawn any Pytos, Quietus, Soul Harvest, like we've got cards that are supposed to beat these matchups. These 9 and we draw none of them, right? That would have helped. Wallop would have helped a bit earlier. Any of these units. We did get Concho and John Construct a little, but it was a little bit unfortunate. They played well. Let's give it to Lunatic Fringe. They did well in that game, and we did misplay in the first game. I talked a bit about yesterday about how, like, on the squadcast they mentioned that timer skills are a skill. They're a different type of skill. They feel less LOR-y, but it's still a skill you need to learn. Like, all losses here are our fault and, like, things we can learn from. They're not like, oh, this game shouldn't be built this way and I shouldn't be punished. Like, I should be punished. I played badly, either due to timer stuff or due to the games, and I could do better, but it's definitely like it's a sadder way to lose. It's a way that you don't want to lose because it feels less fun to lose that way. But interesting games. I think that in general, they were interesting and well played. Final game, we could have done stuff differently. We could have done interesting stuff with that turn 3 or 4, whatever it was, with Portal Palooza instead of Junk Construct. We had options. I think we ended up doing a lot of the later turns fine in terms of Junk Construct and stuff. And we could have been a little bit more aggressive with our Pie Toss use on the Samira. I really think we should have just Pie Tossed Samira at that time, that very, very early time, when we instead decided to burn 2 mana. That Samira never dies, and that Samira kills us, basically. So definitely some things we could have done differently, but that's it. This has been a long episode. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I shall see you next week for the Aegis stuff then.